I think the word expansion does not apply here. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Back for Blood expansion to Children of the Worm that was just released this Tuesday. And I don't think the word expansion applies to this. By definition, this is an expansion. It adds in more content. But the way that I view new content or expansions is probably different than a lot of other people. There are 3 levels of content expansions, you could say. The lowest level are the smallest ones, which are just updates, where it's adding like maybe small little things to the game, changing stuff, tweaking stuff, how a normal update is. Above that, you have actually kind of combined in that, you have like free DLC where it's not a lot of stuff. It's not a lot of things added. Like with Monster Hunter, it's maybe a monster or 2. And then above that, you have your paid DLC, which is something like the multiplayer expansion maps and stuff for Halo, or for Doom, it's the Ancient Gods Part 1 and the Ancient Gods Part 2. Because those were released separately, I'm calling them DLC, not expansions. And then you have expansions, which have to fundamentally kind of not really change the game, but they have to add in a lot of stuff, like a lot of things, a lot of stuff to do. And my background with it is I come from playing World of Warcraft. I started in Burning Crusade. I played all the way up through Legion. I don't think I ever touched Shadowlands. And then I was like, okay, I spent a lot of money on this. I think I'm done because I got tired of the grind. But if you know anything about World of Warcraft and its expansions, they are expansive. They will give you, just the expansion on its own will give you about, I would say, 20 to 50 hours of gameplay-ish. If you're doing one class, I would say it adds a good amount of gameplay. If you don't like that example, something like The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, that I count as an expansion. Or Elder Scrolls 4 The Shivering Isles. It has to have a lot of content to, in my mind, be an expansion. Children of the Worm doesn't have that. They have the 6 chapters for Act 5, but that completely just leaves off at nothing. It honestly, if you have played through it, you know how it ends, and there is no actual resolution to this expansion. Oh, they're leaving it open for the next expansion, so it's DLC, because expansion to me means there's an endpoint in this. Like Wrath of the Lich King, I think you had through Nax, and you got introduced to the villain, which is the Lich King. Sure, it took them 2 or 3 major content updates. Be like, here's Iceborne Citadel, here's the Lich King. Is that what it was? Iceborne Citadel? But yeah, it has an endpoint. An expansion to me is something big, something grand. This is not that. Because if you look at what Children of the Worm has in it, okay, it's a bunch of cosmetic stuff. It adds 3 guns, 3 equipment, a playable character, 6 acts, and 4 new enemies that are only in Act 5. I don't think they're added to the other one, to any of the other acts. They're just in Act 5. And to be honest, all of Act 5, we completed that in an hour and 45 minutes on Veteran. So it's not very expansive. Yes, Prophet Dan is an interesting character. I like him as a character. I like what he does, where when you pick somebody up, you get a buff for your team, basically. It's not always there, but it's there for a little bit. And there's also a lot of stuff that it's did that just appear behind me? Because I saw Mike walk over stuff, walk over an area, and then I walk over that same area, I get hit by a bear trap. So I think stuff was appearing behind us. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's expansion worthy. I think it's DLC worthy. And I know it's a nitpick thing, but I don't think it's that great. We weren't super impressed by Children of the Worm, especially with them calling it an expansion, because that means shit should be big. Expansion means it's going to be big. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Children of the Worm was not a lot of stuff. I was not impressed by it. I know Mike was really not impressed by it. I don't think Chase or Josh were either. It was fine, like Back for Blood. Back for Blood is fine. It's fun. I like it. I have fun with it when we do play it. But it's not one of those games where it's there are not very many times that we say, hey, let's go play Back for Blood. It's very rare, and it's normally around time that the DLC is dropping that we actually will go and play the game. And I'd rather have them wait and drop an actual expansion where it's like, okay, Act 5, 6, and 7. So you have the whole Children of the Worm storyline. And then it's like, okay, this is a proper expansion. Not like, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, here's a little bit. I'd rather just see them like work through the whole thing so that they have the whole complete storyline there instead of piecemealing it and then call it a proper expansion. That's kind of why I personally, I don't like live service games because of shit like this, where it's piecemeal. I would rather it be like, okay, here's our base game. Now we're going to make more content for it and we're going to get this whole storyline done and here you go. Like, yeah, sure, drop a new character here, new character there, but that's my thing. That's the stuff I don't like about it. And I think it is mostly like semantic stuff, but it's still kind of important to acknowledge that this wasn't a great DLC. Now, if you guys want to hear me complain about more stuff, you can click this video that's on screen now to go ahead and watch my Saints Row video. How Saints Row and what's happened to it has me kind of scared for the future. I might be a little off in that video because a lot of stuff I think did get patched day one, but I think it's still kind of accurate, especially when it comes to the Dead Island 2 stuff that I'm really scared for. But yeah, click on that video or click the other button to subscribe.